This morning, one of the most recognisable airlines in the world stopped flying. Spirit Airlines has officially ceased operations. Flights cancelled, aircraft grounded, thousands of passengers left stranded. Operations ended overnight, at midnight on the west coast and 3 a.m. on the east coast. This has been coming for years. To understand the collapse, we need to go back. In the early 2000s, Spirit made a decision that would redefine air travel. Instead of competing with traditional airlines, it went further than anyone else. It stripped flying down to its absolute basics. Inspired by the ultra-low-cost models like Southwest and Ryanair, Spirit built a system where a ticket meant one thing: a seat. And everything else came at a price. Bags, seat selection, boarding priority, even the smallest extras all came with a fee. And at first, it worked. Cheap fares opened the skies to millions. Flight that once felt out of reach suddenly became possible. Weekend trips, family holidays, first-time flyers. Spirit didn't just sell tickets, it made flying accessible. But there was always a trade-off. Planes were full, routes expanded. The airline grew rapidly. Because the cheaper the ticket, the more passengers began to feel what was missing. Tight seating, limited comfort, and a growing list of fees that often turned a cheap fare into something much more expensive. And when things went wrong, delays, cancellations, that frustration hit even harder. Spirit developed a reputation not just as a low-cost airline, but as a controversial one. Yet, despite the complaints, people still booked. No one could ignore the price. But over time, the industry started to change. Other airlines were watching, and then suddenly, they started responding. Legacy carriers didn't just copy Spirit completely, but they adapted. They introduced something new: basic economy. Airlines like Delta Airlines, American Airlines, United Airlines began offering lower fares by removing perks, charging for the extras, limited flexibility, but keeping something Spirit didn't: the core experience. And having flown Delta's basic economy myself, the difference is clear. You lose flexibility, you lose perks, but you don't lose space. You don't lose the overall comfort of the cabin, and it still feels like a full service airline, just stripped back. And that's where Spirit began to lose ground. Because when passengers were given a choice between ultra low cost and better value, the balance started to shift. Then the moment that changed everything: the pandemic. Travel stopped, the industry reset, and when it returned, so did higher costs. Fuel prices surged, operational pressures increased, and passengers expected more. More reliability, more comfort, more value. Spirit tried to adapt. It explored mergers, new strategies, but the pressure kept building. Rising cost, stronger competition, a damaged reputation, and a business model that no longer worked in the same way it once had. In the final hours, there was one last attempt to save the airline. A reported state-backed $500 million rescue deal led by Donald Trump. But the offer was refused, and from that moment, there was no way back. Spirit Airlines ceased operations, and its collapse will be felt across the country. Routes will be filled, major carriers will step in, but the bigger question is this: what happens to prices? Because while Spirit was known for low fares, those fares often came with added costs. Fees that changed the real price of travel. Now, with less ultra-low-cost competition, will ticket prices rise? Or will airlines continue the model Spirit helped create, just in a different form? And beyond passengers, there's a wider impact on the industry itself. Spirit's fleet, built largely around the Airbus A320 aircraft, will now return to the market. aircraft that airlines around the world will look to lease. And with that sudden increase in supply, leasing prices could fall, creating opportunities for new airlines to merge, because aviation has seen this before. When Norwegian air shuttle struggled during the pandemic, it didn't mark the end of the idea. It led to something new. North Atlantic Airways, built on a similar concept, but adapted for a different time. So the question now is this: will someone do the same with Spirit? Will a new airline emerge, taking the ultra low cost model and do it differently? Because while Spirit Airlines may be gone, the idea behind it isn't. And perhaps the biggest truth of all is this: Spirit didn't just change travel, it exposed what passengers were willing to accept. And in doing so, it changed the entire industry. This isn't hype. This isn't paid praise. This is real travel, real consequences, real decisions. I'm Martin, and this is what happens when the cheapest ticket comes at the highest cost. Be sure to share your opinion on the whole Spirit collapse and the Spirit business model in the comments below. I do reply to all comments and I look forward to speaking with you. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, along with airline reviews, trip reports and travel vlogs across the world, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join me for the journey. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a great day.